Hi, my name is Thomas, aka MrWartburg, and this is the 25th episode of the MrWartburg Show. I'm recording this on the 28th of a Memorial Day weekend, so Saturday. So it's a 3-day weekend for me, so I'm going to get this up and hopefully have time to record about a month down the road episode, give or take. Actually, more like 3 weeks, given that it's for the charity stream, that MrWartburg Show. It's a little bit of a woodworking project, so I'm looking forward to that one. As for the weekend itself, so far I've made pretty good use of it. Last night I finished this guy, Battlestar Complete Edition, or the complete Blu-ray thing. I bought it for like $55 on Amazon about a month ago, and I finished the Daybreak Unaired Extended Edition, or episode, last night. And about the fifth time watching the series, and it stays awesome each and every time I do it. Another thing I did this weekend, or more specifically Thursday night, for opening night, was go see X-Men Apocalypse. Now, I'm a big X-Men fan, have been ever since the 90s, because of course I grew up when X-Men the animated series was on TV. And so I've always had an interest in the movies, and thankfully the first two were really damn good. The next two were like, what the fuck? And then they brought it back with First Class and Days of Future Past, Deadpool, and now X-Men Apocalypse, because Deadpool's in that universe. So Fox has kind of recaptured the magic, as it were, now going on 15, 16 years after they first struck gold with X-Men, the first one, with Bryan Singer. And I'm pleased to say that I, as a fan of those movies and the characters, I liked X-Men Apocalypse. Is it as good as X1, X2, Days of Future Past and First Class? No. Actually, though, like if I had to rank them, obviously X2 and Days of Future Past for me are at the top. First Class is like right below. And then X1 and Apocalypse are, neck and neck for quality. And then there's a massive, massive drop between the two that shall not be named. So, yeah, it's not as bad as everyone's saying. It's not very good. Like, no, we've seen bad. We have seen bad X-Men movies. This is not a bad X-Men movie. It's maybe not a great film, and maybe none of the X-Men movies are great films, but I think it's, pretty good. I had a lot of fun watching it, and even though I kind of knew where things were going to end, just because of, where the characters are going, they really kind of telegraphed a few of the things, but they're not necessarily bad, especially the stuff with Magneto going on, because Michael Fassbender, his Eric Lyncher is freaking fantastic. James McAvoy as Charles Xavier is still awesome 3 movies in, and holy shit, that one cameo, and full spoilers here, it's one hell of a cameo. It's freaking Weapon X Wolverine just mowing bitches down. Like, got the helmet on, got the harness, and just owning people. And then right at the end, they set up, for future stories, and that, oh yeah, the person that kind of unlocked his mind, I thought it was going to be Charles Xavier. And, go off the whole, oh, I know him, but we're not part of his story yet, so he just lets him go after, basically making his mind sane again. But it was actually Jean Grey. And her arc in the movie was pretty awesome. I didn't think they would get there right away with the Phoenix Force. And, yeah, it's a pretty big point. Right away, there's a scene where she's, sensing the future. And how they depicted it, I'm like, oh, yeah, she's barely able to contain this force, and everyone hates her for it, and she's an outcast even among mutants, which I thought was pretty interesting. And her relationship with Scott was really well depicted. The entire young cast, was pretty awesome. I mean, Jubilee's just kind of there. She doesn't really do anything. She's just there in some early scenes where they're at the facility, but it's really, of the young cast that do shit, it's Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler. And Angel shows up, but I don't know if he's actually alive at the end of this movie. Storm shows up and does some shit, and though she doesn't really do anything after her introduction, she just kind of is there. The biggest growth is Magneto in the arc that he goes through. We've seen, you see his, or you don't really see it, but they allude to it in the trailers that his family's been murdered, and that's why he's doing all this stuff. And it's heart-wrenching. That scene is oh damn. This, I want him to go murder those bastards. You want to see him go kill people. I mean, that they really make his whole arc really resonate with you when you're in the theaters. And that's something I think Bryan Singer has always done really, really well with these movies, is the themes of X-Men. He makes them resonate to the audience. And other directors haven't been able to do that, which is why I'm hopeful that Singer will come back for the 90s movie. They haven't said he's actually going to direct the sequel, which they've said will be set in the 90s. Which, holy shit, how awesome would it be to have John Ottman, the guy that's made, like, a pretty damn evocative theme, like, suite for these X-Men movies, since being X2, Days of Future Past, and now Apocalypse. They're really, really good theme songs. I want to see him tackle this. Right? That there's epic 90s theme song. I want to see him riff off that and work it into the awesome shit he's done with the X-Men music in these movies. And I think it's going to be pretty damn cool. Plus, where they set it up for the 90s thing, like we see the costumes, like you get Cyclops' like actual visor, and the blue and the yellow, and everyone's uniform has colors. It's almost the 90s lineup. We're almost there. And they've hinted at Wolverine is going to come back because he's off, kind of half crazy, but Jean gave him his mind back, so he's just running naked through the woods in Alkali Lake. And then the kind of end credits Marvel-esque thing there that goes on at the end is Essex Corps comes in, takes the Weapon X blood. Of course, Essex being Mr. Sinister, which I was surprised he didn't show up like at all in the movie, given that he's, usually tied to Apocalypse in some way, either as an acolyte or a rival, even though he used to work for Apocalypse way back, I think it was like the 18th century when he first got his powers, I think, if I'm basing off the 90s. Because then maybe they could have set up Cable and everything, and maybe they will in the future. Maybe that's how they're going to work Cable into the Deadpool movies, is Essex Corp is going to be in the next one, and maybe in the next X-Men movie, Scott and Jean are going to get kidnapped, and, they're going to, like, grow a clone baby out of their DNA, and boom, that's Cable. Who knows? That'd be crazy. And I'm really looking forward to where they go with it, because the 90s X-Men are, of course, for most people, the definitive versions of the characters. And I think Bryan Singer, if he does come back, would do a hell of a job with that movie. But that's really, really far out conjecture for a movie that doesn't even exist yet. Whoa. Almost fell over there. But for a movie that does exist, X-Men Apocalypse, like I said, not a perfect movie. Not the best X-Men movie. Nowhere near the worst X-Men movie. If you like X1, 2, First Class, and Days of Future Past, you're going to probably come out and go, yeah, it was a fun time with the movies. Is it anything that's going to just truly stick with you? There are a few moments, when the Phoenix Force shows up and just boom, holy shit, the Weapon X. That teaser trailer, which if you know your X-Men lore, that teaser at the end, the end credits thing, you know your X-Men lore, that's going to get your blood pumping, because holy shit, is that fucking awesome. Plus, they're maybe getting into the X-23 stuff, which would be great, and I'm hopeful, inside of a few months when they start casting for the next one, that they announce like a really awesome actress to do X-23, because that character is actually pretty cool, and definitely one of the more modern characters that Marvel has had, hit success with. And maybe one of the first, like, that this new wave, like with their new Miss Marvel and, Miles Morales, she kind of predated that and really became, her own thing. And that was really, really cool. And I'm hopeful that they can do that justice either in the Wolverine, which they haven't yet officially said it's going to be X-23, for, Jackman's last stand as, the titular character. But there have been so many rumors coming out of that movie that it's almost like a given that it's going to be an X-23 relations story arc, some type, to get her into the X-Men franchise. Because we need some kind of adamantium-clawed badass just owning people on screen. So those are my thoughts on the X-Men Apocalypse / current state of where they're going with the X-Men franchise. And if you have seen it, let me know your comments below, because, hey, we can always talk nerdy shit in the comments, or I could talk at you in next week's video, whatever you want to do. And, of course, if you liked the video, drop a like, hit the subscribe to stay up to date with all my latest videos, and shoot me topics at MrWartburg on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.